Hello, everybody. In this video, I'm going to call out a few more people that has been arrested or charged. Some have been convicted, some is still in the court system. Just a whole bunch of different people during different videos that have been charged with things associated to pedophilia. The political narrative advanced by many of the Maga supporters and Republican officials has centered on portraying LGBTQ plus individuals, particularly transgender people and drag queens, as threats to children's safety. This rhetoric has been used to justify legislation restricting LGBTQ plus rights and to mobilize political bases around the concept of protecting children from groomers. However, a consistent and growing body of evidence reveals a stark hypocrisy within this movement, as numerous prominent conservative figures and supporters themselves face serious allegations and charges related to the sexual abuse of minors. In one of my videos, I've already called out a few. I'm going to call out a few in each video. This is going to be a continuing series with other things to give it a break every now and then. Recent months have seen several high-profile cases involving MAGA-aligned individuals facing charges for child sexual abuse, further exposing the disconnect between the movement's public rhetoric and the actions of some of its most vocal supporters. R.J. May, a South Carolina Republican representative, was arrested on charges related to the very accusation he had reportedly leveled at the LGBTQ community, dealing in child sexual abuse material. The indictment against May alleges he used a cloud storage account to send messages to underage girls that consisted largely of arranging meetup dates, time, price negotiations, and rules regarding the videoing of sexual encounters, all of which are indicative of sex work. Prosecutors have asserted that May has a sexual interest in children the same age as his own children, and have recommended he be held without bail until his trial. Thomas Weidman, the 38-year-old stepson of the founder of Covenant Eyes, an anti-porn company praised by House Speaker Mike Johnson, was arrested and charged with child sexual abuse. Weidman's charges include 4 counts of using computers to commit a crime, 3 counts of child sexually abusive activity, and 1 count of accosting children for immoral purposes. The company released a statement saying it was devastated by the news reports, and Weidman has not yet entered a plea. Madison Page Jones, a woman who wore a red MAGA cap on her wedding day, was reportedly arrested and charged with child sexual abuse. While her explicit political affiliations are not detailed in the reports, the visual association with the MAGA movement places her within the context for videos such as this. Jonathan Petronel, a 24-year-old member of Indiana's National Guard, was arrested on charges of keeping child sexual abuse material on his phone. Petronel has pleaded not guilty to 1 count of child exploitation and 3 counts of possession of child sexual abuse material. These individual cases form part of a broader pattern that has been documented through systemic data collection efforts. Attorney Kristen Prada-Brown has been tracking weekly arrests for child sexual abuse across the United States, revealing a striking discrepancy between who is actually being charged and who is being targeted by conservative rhetoric. Over 21 weeks of data collection, Browd documented 1,216 cases of individuals arrested or convicted of sexual abuse against children, of whom 202 were in the religion business. Among these cases, 104 were pastors, 37 were priests, and 21 were politicians, of whom 17 were Republicans, 3 were Democrats, and 1 was nonpartisan. Notably, out of these 1,216 cases, not a single one involved a drag queen, and only 3 involved transgender individuals. The data reveals that Browd describes as a real risk factor to take your kids to their churches, given the astronomical crime rate among pastors compared to the general population. This stands in stark contrast to the rate at which transgender people commit such crimes, which she notes is dramatically below their incidence in the population. The discrepancy between Maga rhetoric and the reality regarding child exploitation cases highlights how concerns about child protection have been politically weaponized against marginalized communities. Republicans have become obsessed with labeling drag queens, trans women, and gay people as groomers and sexual deviants who shouldn't be allowed near children, while simultaneously ignoring or downplaying actual cases of child exploitation within their own ranks. This political strategy relies on creating moral panic around LGBTQ plus individuals while ignoring or downplaying actual cases of child exploitation within conservative circles. Prominent figures including Tucker Carlson, Donald Trump Jr., Josh Hawley, and Marjorie Taylor Greene have frequently referenced pedophilia in relation to LGBTQ plus communities on television and in social media. The political consequences of this rhetoric have been severe. MAGA Republican governors across the country have implemented new policies that punish teachers and parents for protecting, supporting, and educating students regarding their gender identity and orientation. Despite persistent attempts by MAGA supporters to link pedophilia and child exploitation to the LGBTQ plus communities, particularly transgender individuals and drag queens, systemic data collection efforts have failed to substantiate these claims. Attorney Kristen Prada-Brown efforts to expose the actual pedophiles arrested each week have consistently shown that, despite what some right-wing pundits and politicians would have you believe, none of them are drag queens. After almost a month of making video documenting weekly arrests for sexual abuse, Browd emphasized that no drag queens had been arrested for harming children, despite persistent accusation by right-wing pundits. Similarly, fact-checking organizations have debunked claims attempting to link LGBTQ plus organizations to child sexual abuse. AFP Fact Check has previously debunked claims falsely linking the LGBTQ plus community to pedophilia, noting that pedophilia has no place in the LGBTQ plus community and no place in society as a whole. The pattern of MAGA supporters being charged with child sexual abuse highlights a broader issue regarding authority figures who position themselves as moral guardians while engaging in or being accused of the very behaviors they condemn. As noted in the analysis of these cases, Republicans are obsessed with labeling drag queens, trans women, and gay people as groomers and sexual deviants who shouldn't be allowed near children. And yet, there are pastors and politicians who have allegedly been in possession of child sexual abuse images, have sexually harassed and assaulted women, or in one disturbing case, a politician was accused of sexually assaulting his own daughter. This hypocrisy extends beyond individual cases to represent a systemic issue within the movement's leadership and prominent supporters. The discrepancy between public rhetoric and private action suggests that these accusations may function more as political tools than genuine expressions of concerns for children's welfare. The documented cases of Maga supporters arrested on charges related to child sexual abuse and exploitation reveal a significant hypocrisy within the movement. While Maga politicians and influencers have invested substantial resources in portraying LGBTQ plus communities as threats to children, numerous cases have emerged of their own supporters and leaders engaging in or being accused of such behaviors themselves. The systemic data collected by attorney Kristen Prader-Brown further reinforces this conclusion, showing that out of 1,216 cases of child sexual abuse documented over 21 weeks, not a single one involved a drag queen, and only 3 involved transgender individuals. In contrast, 104 pastors and 17 Republican politicians faced such charges during the same period. This pattern suggests that concerns about child exploitation have been politicized and weaponized against marginalized communities rather than representing a genuine commitment to protecting children from actual threats. As these cases continue to emerge, they highlight the importance of examining the actions of those who make the loudest accusations, particularly those accusations are used to justify policies that harm vulnerable communities. The discrepancy between MAGA rhetoric and reality regarding child exploitation cases serves as a reminder that moral panics often distract from addressing actual threats to children's safety and well being.